After struggling in the last game against Iowa State, Alan Bowman is being benched. The World Series is officially set, with the Red Raider soccer team able to upset number 6 TCU. And what is to be expected in the Champions League as they too deal with league changes due to COVID-19? Find out next. MCTV Sports 101 starts now. Hey there, sports fans, and welcome to MCTV Sports 101. I am Austin Seat.
And I'm Ryan Heller. Texas Tech football had a bye week this week, but some big news still came up regarding the quarterback position. As of now, Henry Colombi will be starting quarterback next week in the game over Alan Bowman. Colombi played 2 seasons at Utah State, his freshman year under Matt Wells. He played a total of 11 games with the Aggies before transferring to Texas Tech this offseason. They will take on the West Virginia Mountaineers next week here at the Jones AT&T Stadium. The game will be at 4:30 and will be televised on ESPN2. Also, what can we expect from Colombi as the new starting quarterback?
Well, based off what I saw in both the Kansas State game and in the last quarter of the Iowa State game, I obviously expect very much from this man. I've got some records from him now. He was 40 of 59 for 359 yards and a 74.1% completion rating. Now, I don't know if that's specifically at Tech or if it's. I think that's at Tech because. But I mean, what we can expect is that he's going to have a high QBR and a high completion rating. In 2018, 33 out of 40, 82% for 239 yards. 20 out of 29, 69% for 221 yards. So obviously he's going to have a very high completion percentages, which we like. I'm curious to see how well he's obviously under Matt Wells, he knows Matt Wells' system. He's been with him for the prior 2 years.
So he's comfortable with that scheme.
He's comfortable with that scheme. So I think he's going to be comfortable in the pocket and with the route running and all that. I'm excited. I really am.
See, me personally now, the good news is during his 2 years at Utah State, he was a total of 76% completion. That sounds good. Mm-hmm. Here's where gets a little iffy. He played 11 games. Only a total of 460 yards. That's a little iffy of itself, but still, I think that.
Well, it could have been the same situation that it is here, where you have a good start. You've had a good starting quarterback the past two years, however many years. Little bit of injury prone. He has had a lot of success, but however, recently he hasn't had that much success. So they try in the new guy. He's obviously having great success, as like you said before, the high completion percentage with I believe it's 82 and 69 were in the 2 seasons.
And his last game against Kansas State, he did have 244 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So that was very impressive, and I like that he did more last game against Iowa State in 1 quarter than Bowman did in 3 because he had 97 yards.
Which again, I talked about this in the last video, in the last broadcast. I thought that if they had started him at halftime, the game would have been much more interesting. But that's neither here nor there. It's already been a week. We're moving on.
Right.
But I think it's going to be a good one. I'm interested to see how he does against West Virginia, and it's going to be fun.
I think it'll be a good game.
Yep. Up next, Texas Tech soccer came up short against the TCU Horned Frogs on Friday as they lost 2-0. Early in the game, the Horned Frogs jumped all over the Red Raiders. They scored the game's only goals within the first 10 minutes of play. They will host the Iowa State Cyclones here at the John Walker Soccer Complex at 7:15. You can catch the game on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Ryan, what's your take on the game?
Well, I mean, like you said, they started off really fast, and you know what? When you're facing a number 6 team in the country, you kind of expect that. But you know what? I still like that they still fought hard in the second half to try to get those goals. They didn't give up. But it is kind of unsettling to me that I see, you look at here, 13, the shots on goal. And the total shots are.
I will say this. This was better than the previous game. I think it was Tech had 8 shots on goal, or 8 total shots. 3 of them were on goal. TCU had a few more, 13 shots, 3 on goal. So they both had multiple chances to get the on goal score. TCU obviously had the better saves. I mean, if you take away 2 of those saves, it could be a 2-1 matchup, or it could be a 3-2 game. You never know, or a 3-3 or 3-2. You never know. But the fouls, I thought the fouls were very interesting. Texas Tech with 10 fouls, TCU with 9 fouls. And then Brittany Martin acquires a yellow card in I think it's the 55th minute, and then acquires another yellow card in the 79th minute, which 2 yellows equal a red in soccer. So she's
and then that means you're out.
Yep, she's out of the game, out for the rest of the game. So if she doesn't acquire that second yellow card, or even both of the yellow cards, she may be more of a contributing factor in that game. You never know. But I think Texas Tech. I think a lot of expectations of what last year have kind of diminished. We could blame that on COVID-19 and not having a true offseason. We could not. I don't know.
It is an easy target.
It is. But you also got to understand they've played 2 really tough opponents in Kansas State ranked at number 9 and then TCU here ranked at number 6.
And then in a couple games, they're going to be facing another top 10 opponent in Oklahoma State, provided they still stay in the top 10.
Yeah.
So
the Big 12 in soccer is a very, very tough opponent. We obviously saw that last year, and they were able to make it to the almost the end, right?
And they were still able to host the first round.
They host the first round. They almost won the Big 12. It's obviously a tough league, especially in the soccer league. It's interesting to see them without the proper preseason, because we know we lost a lot of people, especially the goalie.
Yeah.
But I think it's just going to be a building year for Tech.
It will be, and you know what? Next week, hopefully, never know. But I think I got a good feeling that we're going to get our first win next week.
Yep.
Anyway, due to the outbreak of COVID-19, all sports leagues across the country have had to make changes. And the same thing is happening to the UEFA, which is the Champions League. Due to a spike in cases, many teams are having to deal with critical roster changes while the group stages were currently being picked. The tournament is scheduled to start tomorrow, with the earliest matches starting at 11:55 a.m. Austin, what's your take?
All right. Well, first off, it's the UEFA. I know you said UEFA, but it's.
I just spelled it out.
Yeah, it said. I'll pull an AD here. It's meant to say UEFA, but it's interesting to see how football teams are actually preparing for COVID-19. There's obviously been a lot of news. Cristiano Ronaldo with Ajax recently was reported with COVID-19. Reported negative, but still ended up going to his national club team in Portugal. So both those teams were held, obviously, in quarantine for a while before they could resume activities. Barcelona, with their controversial talks with Messi this past offseason, obviously it'll be interesting to see how they do during these group stages. Obviously, the Premier League is going to be, I feel like the teams to watch, Premier League, so I think that's Chelsea, Manchester City, Man United.
Liverpool, PSG could be some good targets.
Liverpool, those 4 will be good. PSG, I believe they're the defending champs, is obviously going to be a good one. Barcelona, even though with the controversy, they'll still be a good one. However, Atletico Madrid, Ajax, what's another? I've got the group stages right here. It looks like it could be a very, very good matchup. Juventus, obviously, is going to be a good one. Or I think I may have said Ronaldo with Ajax, but it's Juventus. My mistake.
Yeah, it's okay.
My mistake. I'm sorry about that. It's been very hard to keep up with soccer, especially with this COVID-19. PSG and Manchester United obviously is going to be a good matchup in that league. I picture them getting 1 and 2. That's Group H. Group G, Barcelona and Juventus. F, I'll say, let me see another good one. F, I'll say Club Brugge and Lazio. E, Chelsea. I mean, there's obviously good teams in this Premier League matchup. In this Champions League matchup. The group staging is going to be very fun to watch over these next few months, or especially during this month of October and November. And then once we get into the elimination rounds, it's obviously going to get even better. But I mean, it's like you said.
The best we can do is hope that they can be able to play their games, not have to have any games postponed like we've had to do with the NFL, MLB. Hopefully that they can go through the tournaments.
And I know
as smoothly as possible.
We've heard the buzzer and we're pressed for time. Let us know in the comment section what you think. My last point on this is that the football club sports, they'll know to like postpone and move games a lot more than the NFL, NBA, and all that. So I feel like postponing and rescheduling is not going to be an issue for them. But for Champions League, they'll look at it more seriously because of how big soccer is in the world.
Yeah.
But. Up next, after an unusual 60-game season, the World Series is now officially set. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays defeated the Houston Astros in Game 7 on Saturday, 4-2, and the LA Dodgers defeated the Atlanta Braves last night in Game 7, winning 4-3. The Rays are making their first World Series appearance since 2008 when they lost to the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Dodgers will try and win their first World Series since 1988. Game 1 will be on Tuesday at 7:09 on Fox. Ryan, what's your take on how this World Series will go?
I kind of see it as a 6 or 7 game series. Now, here's how I see it. Both teams, you look at both of these teams in the first 2 rounds. They just cruised through the first 2 rounds. They swept both of their opponents, and then they had to go through game 7s, both of them. You look at the Rays; they were up 3-0 against the Astros, 3-0. And then the Astros came from behind to force a Game 7, and they were only the second team to do that since the Boston Red Sox in 2004. And the Dodgers got down 3-1 at some point against the Braves and struggled and fought to come back. So both teams, I feel, after cruising to the first 2 rounds, they both have been battle-tested. They will be ready for this series. Here's where here's the key for the Dodgers, though. The Dodgers need to have they actually need to have a good World Series performance by Clayton Kershaw. That is his Achilles heel as far as his future Hall of Fame legacy goes. He's great in the regular season, postseason, but the World Series, he has struggled. He needs to have a good World Series if they have any chance in the series.
What do they call it? The Kershaw curse? Is that the new craze they're calling it
The Kershaw curse, because in the postseason, I believe it is his postseason ERA in the 7th inning and up is over 25. That's a problem. So he needs to get that down if they want to have any chance in the series.
Well, I think this is obviously a good World Series matchup. Obviously, you have Tampa Bay, who went 40-20, and then the Dodgers, who went 43-17. Batting wise, I mean, Brandon Lowe for Tampa Bay is leading home runs, batting average, RBIs. For LA, it's AJ Bullock. Is that how you say? I'm assuming. I think that's how you say his name.
And Mookie Betts.
Corey Seager is leading batting average and RBIs. So obviously, there's some big name and big time players in this series. It's going to be a good one to watch, especially in that new Texas Rangers Stadium, which I have yet to visit, and I would love to. Don't think I'm going to get that opportunity this year with COVID. I do know that they've played their last matchup has been against some very, very tough opponents. As we said, Tampa with Houston. Houston really got it. They got it into Game 6, right?
7 actually, and they became the first team to force a Game 7 after being down 0-3 since the Red Sox.
Oh, they did. Okay, so both these teams actually went to Game 7. Okay, so
after sweeping their first 2 matchups.
Yeah.
So I feel that now these 2 teams have been battle tested. I feel like they're both ready.
Yep.
And we're looking forward. But I don't know who's going to win. But I'm saying 6 to the most 7.
Well, I guess I'm gonna say 7 just because of how their last series went.
Okay.
All right. Well, now it's time for Who You Got. I know we both love this segment. I'm slowly catching up to you. I got a 6-9 record to your 9-6 record.
Yes.
So obviously I'll get a few more on you, and we'll see how this goes, brother.
And if our record looks a little weird, it's because one of the games kind of got disqualified because Orlando and NYC tied.
Yes, and for us a tie, nobody gets any points unless someone had said tied. But that's a little nod to AD. Sorry, we forgot about that AD. Well,
hope you're doing well.
Yep, moving on. To start off, we have an NFL matchup between the Arizona Cardinals against the Dallas Cowboys later tonight. Ryan, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Cardinals here because I'm sorry. I like Andy Dalton. He's a Houston guy, a Katy High School grad, but I'm sorry. I think the Cardinals got this one. I look at Hopkins, who the Texans should never have traded. I still am mad at him.
Hey,
I'm still mad at Brian for that.
Hey, we got to keep this wrapped.
That's right.
If I let you go on a tangent now, we're doomed.
You're right. Hopkins is averaging 99 yards in this game, in this season so far. The Cardinals are, by the way, he's top 5 in receiving yards. The Cardinals are second in points against, and they handle the Jets very well, by the way. Yes, I know it's the Jets, but still it's the Jets, so they're coming off hot. They're coming off with some fire and some momentum. I'm going with the Cardinals. What about you?
I'm obviously a Dallas guy. I'm going to stick with the Cowboys. Unlike most fans, I actually know that they do not have a decent or a good enough secondary, so that is obviously something that Cliff Kingsbury, Hopkins, and Murray will exploit. However, I don't think the Cardinals' defense can match it. If they give it to Zeke, I don't think they can match up that running attack. We will see, but I got the Cowboys in this one.
All right. Well, to follow up that game, we have a second Monday Night NFL matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Austin, who you got?
Well, before I say my pick, I just wanted you to know this is the second time in a row we've done a Who You Got, or second time we've done a Who You Got that the game is actually going on right now. I just got a notification about that earlier. But I have the Chiefs in this one.
Yes, that's right. We actually forgot that the game is going to be actually at 4.
Yeah, so the game's going on right now, brother.
Yeah.
But I have the Chiefs.
Yeah, this time also, like last time, it was unintentional. I have learned my lesson about picking the Bills, so I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. I'm going with the Chiefs as well. I'm going to go with you as well. Plus, Mahomes, he's got to be Mahomes again. Look, he had a bad game, but you know what? What Pro Bowl quarterback doesn't have a bad game every now and then? So I'm still going to like my chances with him. I love what I'm seeing from the rookie, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's averaging 76 yards a game. He is top 10 in rushing overall with 304 yards. Kelsey's going to be Kelsey, and I like that they're improved defense. I'm going with the Chiefs.
All right, then. Well, also coming up, we have an MLS matchup between the Philadelphia Union and New England Revolution on Wednesday. Ryan, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Union. I like that they're fourth in total goals, and they're second, like in goals against. They're top 5 in assists. I like what I'm seeing from there. And also I like, they seem to be on a hot streak. I mean, like sort of a hot streak. You look at, just their last 5 games alone, the Union. In the last 5, 3 wins, only 1 loss and 1 draw. So I like what I see from them there. So I'm going with the Union.
All right. I'm going to agree with you on this one. I do agree that both teams in their last 5 matchup are on the same streak. I believe it's 2 wins, a loss, or I think it's 2 wins, a loss, and 2 draws. So obviously, very even matchup. But like you said, last 5 meetings, obviously Philadelphia has either won or tied it against New England. So it's a no-brainer to me. I would have gone a draw, but I think Philadelphia pulls this one out.
I agree. And finally, to finish it off, we have an MLB game matchup, Game 1 tonight in the World Series between the Tampa Bay Rays and the LA Dodgers in the World Series. Austin, who you got?
I got the Dodgers on this one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with the Dodgers on this one. I think, to me, they look like they have a more stacked lineup, or as far as like players go. I think they obviously played a better team against the Atlanta Braves going into Game 7. Yes, I do think Houston forcing Game 7 was good. But the Tampa Bay should have won that game, I believe, in 5 or 4. So I've obviously got the Dodgers in this one.
Yeah, they should have won it in Game 5, but Correa had that walk-off homer. I'm going to go with the Rays.
He's the only reason that he kept Houston in that series. So
I love Correa. But anyway, so
finally he could have gotten you past Game 7.
But I mean, I'm picking the Rays. Screw you. I'm picking the Rays. But for the main reason why I'm picking the Rays is because I've checked the pitcher. It's Clayton Kershaw, and I do not trust him in the World Series. I would have probably picked the Dodgers, but I just don't. Until I see otherwise that Kershaw can perform well in the World Series, I'm not going to go for any Dodgers team when he's pitching. So I'm going with the Rays, and I like that they're hitting well, especially their outfield with Rosarena. Willie Adames is hitting lights out, and I like that their outfield has strong arms that can stop any tags, sacrifice flies. So I'm going with the Rays for Game 1.
All right, then. Sorry I appeared to make you mad in that one, but I just had to.
Oh,
you give
please.
You give me crap for Dallas, the Mavericks, and the Cowboys. I have to get you for something.
You know what? It's a fair point. We bust each other's balls. That's okay.
I can't say anything about the Texans because they're the same record as the Cowboys, so I can't say anything bad about them.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show for this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. Join us next week for the latest big-name stories in sports. I am Austin C.
And I'm Ryan Heller. We will see you next time.
Was that another attempt at a pitch?
A bad one.
Yeah, clearly. Looked like a knuckleball.